video.
I was hesitant about doing a review of Jaws because it's Jaws. I mean, what's left to be said about it? It's a masterpiece that changed the game in terms of how movies are made, how they're marketed, and when they're released. Jaws was the first summer blockbuster, the highest-grossing movie of all time, for a short time, eventually unseated by some movie that immediately sank into obscurity and nobody talks about today. Something about a war in the stars. It just borrowed elements from both martial arts movies and westerns. I don't know. All I remember about it is that the villain sounded like somebody with really bad asthma or something. And enough of this debate over whether or not Jaws is a horror movie. Just rewatch those first 5 minutes in which poor Chrissy's nudie night swim gets cut short by her getting cut short inside the jaws of a massive great white shark, and try and tell me that's not horrifying. And shout out to the late Susan Back-Linney who played Chrissy. Her performance is often overlooked, but she really sold that scene. Her guttural screams of agony and fruitless pleas to God for salvation does so much to characterize the mercilessness and savagery of the shark without seeing not so much as a single fin. Sure, there's some great adventure elements in Jaws too. The entire final act on the orca is incredibly thrilling, but it's made infinitely more so by the ever-looming presence of the shark. And because the characters and the acting is so good, it's hard not to care. Just try and not be on the edge of your seat whenever the yellow barrels emerge from the ocean depths, because you know wherever they are, the shark is. The characters are great, the acting all around is superb, and the storytelling is sublime. But we all already know that, because after 50 years, Jaws is still a phenomenon, revered the world over. It's insanely quotable. And its star Bruce is one of cinema's most beloved villains. What isn't talked about enough is that Jaws is kind of a miracle movie. We all know the story of the shark never working, so director Steven Spielberg had to improvise with POVs instead, which turned out to be infinitely more effective. And he had John Williams score one of the greatest and most recognizable pieces of music ever written for film to fall back on. There were a great many other production problems along the way, delays due to filming on the open ocean. The screenplay was a work in progress during filming too, and they went massively over schedule and budget to the point where Steven Spielberg feared he'd either be fired or never work again. Keep in mind, this was before Steven Spielberg was Steven Spielberg. He had only directed a couple of movies prior to Jaws, including the made-for-TV Duel, which is a pretty darn good movie in its own right. In fact, Spielberg almost didn't direct Jaws because he felt it was too similar to Duel. So you have a young, relatively untested director helming a movie based on a #1 best-selling novel for a major studio with big bucks on the line. And it's coming out sideways. There are tales of cast and crew members misbehaving while on location in Martha's Vineyard. You had cast members who didn't get along. Richard Dreyfuss famously was on the receiving end of some pretty harsh bullying from co-star Robert Shaw, who reportedly spent much of the shoot dead drunk because there was so much downtime. And downtime meant drinking time. And of course, the real star of the show turned out to be the most difficult to work with of all. The mechanical shark, christened Bruce after Spielberg's lawyer. What a diva. Jaws was a film that was made in the editing room because of this. That's why Verna Fields won an Oscar for editing Jaws. That's why there's a building on the Universal lot named after her. And that's why by the time Jaws 2 came around, she'd been promoted to the rank of studio exec, one of the first women to hold that position in the industry. The fact that Jaws became the movie that we all know and love today is nothing short of a miracle. And I'm not discounting the movie itself in any way, don't get me wrong. As I said, the characters are incredible. Roy Scheider, Richard Dreyfuss, and Robert Shaw all deliver undeniable performances, and the monologue that Shaw delivers about the USS Indianapolis is breathtaking. And that ending, although it would never happen in real life, shooting a scuba tank in the shark's jaws and it exploding, blowing the beast to smithereens. But it's the perfect ending though, the ending that the movie and the audience deserves. It's such a release and a relief. I mean, just thinking about it now and I'm right there. Jaws is a movie that I've watched countless times. I can practically quote every line of dialogue verbatim. And though I've only stepped into the ocean a handful of times, you can bet that each and every time I have, there's always a moment where I wonder, what's down there? And could it be looking up at me thinking, that fat guy looks delicious? Jaws is one of the best films ever made, period. If by some chance you haven't seen it, what the hell are you waiting for? Are you just going to ignore it until it swims up and bites you in the ass? In fact, this newly released 50th anniversary 4K Steelbook would be a great way to watch it either for the first time or, if you're like me, the 50th time. First, let's take a look at the Steelbook itself. The 50th anniversary Steelbook features some really cool new artwork with the classic image of Bruce in the center, surrounded by the main characters from the film. On the back, there's the Beach Clothes sign. This is a 3-disc release. We get the standard Blu-ray, the 4K, and the third disc is the new feature-length documentary Jaws at 50, The Definitive Inside Story. And beneath the discs, we have this image. I'm pretty sure this is the same 4K transfer that was on the 45th anniversary release. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it's the same exact disc. Still, it's a great transfer nevertheless. The image quality here is beautiful, it's sharp, it's vivid, there's a high level of detail present throughout. This is just an absolutely gorgeous 4K transfer. For audio, we get a DTS HD Master Audio 2.0 track and a Dolby Atmos track. I listened with the stereo track enabled and thought the movie sounded outstanding. It's crystal clear, it's full-bodied, it sounds awesome. Overall, I'd give both the picture quality and the sound quality on this release perfect scores, 5 out of 5. Now, when it comes to extras, the jewel in this oyster, oysters have pearls. The pearl in this oyster is the brand new feature-length documentary, Jaws at 50, The Definitive Story. It is 1 hour, 28 minutes, and 4 seconds in length, and it's awesome. The documentary features interviews with Steven Spielberg, Cameron Crowe, Greg Nicotero, James Cameron, J.J. Abrams, Guillermo del Toro, Jeffrey Kramer, Steven Soderbergh, Emily Blunt, Wendy Benchley, Robert Zemeckis, Jordan Peele, George Lucas, Joe Alves, Lorraine Gary, John Williams, Carl Gottlieb, a bunch of oceanographers, shark scientists, and biologists, and we get lots of archival interviews and behind-the-scenes footage. They discuss the novel, its success, the book being optioned, Steven Spielberg wanting to shoot it on the open ocean instead of in a tank on a soundstage, and how that kind of backfired on him, developing the script, building the sharks, rushing the film into production, the Martha's Vineyard location, the cast, the delays, the shark not working, the movie going over schedule and budget, the USS Indianapolis story, John Williams' score, the movie's blockbuster success, restoring Bruce, the film's fandom, its legacy, and much, much, much more. It also features some behind-the-scenes Super 8 footage that I don't think has ever been officially released before of the Alex Kintner death and of the death on the in the pond. It's sort of an extended scene of after the guy gets attacked on the boat and it gets his leg bitten off. It's really cool. All the rest of the extras on this release are archival extras. I'm not going to go into detail about any of them. However, they are pretty solid extras on their own right. So if you didn't pick up the 45th anniversary edition of the film, all those extras are ported over here and you get that new awesome feature-length documentary. All that makes the 50th anniversary Jaws 4K Steelbook a must-own if you are a fan of Jaws. If you picked up this release, please let me know your thoughts on it down in the comments section below. If you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up and share it on social media. If you're not following me on social media, those links are in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care, and until next time.
Smile, you son of a bitch!
A huge thank you to all my patrons and channel members for your generosity and support. Become a patron today and get early access to videos, have a say in what content appears on my channel, join me for monthly live streams, exclusive watch parties, and more. Become a channel member today and get access to exclusive badges and emotes to use when I stream, as well as members-only watch parties. Both those links are in the description. Say hello to the internet, Jeremy.
Hello to the internet.